Am I the astronaut for blowing up at my husband for messing with my alarm and causing me to miss my exam? I, female 23, have been married to my husband, male 26, for a year. I'm in my last year of university and have been so busy for the last 2 weeks, with many projects and finals looming. My husband complains about seeing me studying and not doing activities together or hanging out with friends anymore. I've told him it's not going to last forever and that I need to focus because this is my last year and it's been the hardest. The day before the exam, he wanted me to go with him to a friend's birthday party. I refused because I was busy preparing for my exam. He pleaded with me saying, "It's just 1 hour," and talked about how his friends will be upset if I'm not there. I said no and shut down any further discussions. He got upset and called me selfish and inconsiderate, but then dropped it. Before I went to bed, I set my alarm clock like I always do since I'm a heavy sleeper, and I stayed up late studying. The next morning, I woke up at 9 a.m. I literally freaked out and checked my alarm and found that it was set to go off at 9:30 a.m. I had no idea how this happened until my husband told me he did this to repay me for refusing to take one hour to attend the party, so he took this hour from my time. I couldn't believe it. I absolutely blew up at him, just yelling and screaming at him left and right. He just stood there shocked from my reaction and my rage. I got dressed quickly and rushed to the university. They didn't let me into the exam hall. I got into a lot of hassle to get them to reschedule the exam, especially since I had no legit reason as to why I was late. It was awful, is all I can say. I went home and my husband and I stopped speaking to each other. He kept acting as if I hurt his feelings and traumatized him by yelling, and that I deserve what he did since he was frustrated with my continual refusal to attend all events for the past 2 weeks. I might be wrong for not considering it, but I think that my exam should be a priority, and his way of teaching me a lesson was not right. So the original question here was, am I the astronaut for blowing up at my husband for messing with my alarm and causing me to miss my exam? Hell no. This is an NTA animation, although you're not going to see it, but NTA, garbage, dude. Okay. And yeah, I'd like to reinforce that brozo with another brozo because OP, you are acting responsible here. He didn't want you to be responsible. He wasn't thinking about the long game here. He wasn't thinking about the ramifications of failing this exam or not being there for it. He wanted you to just go have fun with him instead. I think this is a larger red flag that you have to look at as a signal for the rest of your life, because someone who wants to shirk responsibility, even when it's the biggest exam of your educational career, to go party for one night, probably isn't going to be a super responsible life partner. You know what I mean? Not going to be a great life partner. Dude needs to grow up. You get NTA for this. He's on Ask on One. This was a terrible, terrible thing to do to you. Terrible thing. We'll take him to Ask on One. We'll get our pink lights. At least we get that. We get our light changes in the background. It's a big sign for things to come. Someone who's willing to sabotage you like this and not take any responsibility themselves, victimize themselves for getting in trouble for the bullshit that they pulled. I think you've got to look at this and say, in the next chapter of my life, is this the person that I see with me? Oh shit, and you're married. For a year. Year one's hard. Year one's really hard. But man, this is not okay. So I think what you can do at this point, because you're married, is say, look, this is a hard boundary that you will not cross again. And if you can't guarantee that right now and you can't suck it up and you can't be responsible, then we have to look at what the options here for going separate ways. Otherwise, you're accepting a shit ton of risk moving forward with your life. What happens when you have a giant presentation at work the next day that you have to prepare for, and he's like, oh, I want you to come party. And you're like, nah, I'd rather keep my job or get this promotion or whatever. And he can't think about the big 30,000 foot view, can't think about the big picture. He just wants to have fun. Him being 26 is compounding red flags here, because if at that point you haven't figured out when it's not okay to go party because you have important shit to do the next day, then there's a problem. The severity of this is deal breaking.